Today we are diving into the wonderful, wonderful world of home inspections. I know no one ever cares about that stuff until you're buying your dream home or selling your house to get out of it and make sure you are getting your best bang for your buck. So let's dive right into the wonderful world of home inspections. The basics. So the process typically looks like this. You find your dream home and you go under contract and you have some timeline in there that actually gives you time to actually run your inspections. This is a third-party, non-biased person coming in to look at all the outlets, making sure the doors latch, make sure there's no chipped and peeling paint, making sure that the outlets are whatever they need to be, making sure that the certain things that we don't, when we're looking at a house, look for or look at, right? Whether it's a home buyer and they don't really understand the next piece of it or what goes into a home, they're going to look at your HVAC system. You can do sewer line inspections, you can do foundation inspections, roof inspections, electrical, plumbing. The list goes on and on and on and on. But what I will tell you is this time period, the basics of this time is to figure out what is wrong with the house. And when you boil it all down, whether you're the buyer or the seller, the buyer is going in to figure out if they want to accept the house in its condition that it is, or they want the seller to fix certain things. I will tell you, everything is negotiable. I don't care what it is, price, closing costs, fixes, whatever that looks like. Everything is negotiable. And at the end of it here, I'm going to tell you a little story about my own house and give you an example of what these actually look like. So those are the basics of your house. Buyer, you're going to go in. I would recommend spending the money just because having those people looking at your house is going to be important. Seller, take a deep breath. It'll be okay. We'll get you taken care of. We'll get you through this home inspection. I know everybody gets nervous as a seller. I do too. And I've been through hundreds of them. So take a deep breath. We'll get you through it. The home inspection is the buyer's right to do that. Okay, sellers, turn your ears off a little bit because this one's for the buyers. Here's the thing. When you are going to buy a house, that home inspection is not to find every little thing that's wrong with the house so that you can get out of it. That's not what you want to do. It is about understanding your new home, understanding what that looks like, right? Understanding the process and understanding that the sewer line may be compromised, and understanding that this door may not latch, and understanding that this outlet's not grounded, and whatever that is. And once we collect the information, then we go back to the sellers and we say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we found a couple different things here that we would like to have fixed. I want you guys to know as a buyer, you go back into negotiations at that point. Again, I'm going to tell you about my own personal house whenever we get to the end here, but you'll understand a lot more about it as we get there. Now, what I'm telling you guys is this isn't to say, oh, the handles aren't the right color, or the house needs painted, or you can see that stuff, right? When you walk through a house, you understand that house has chipped and peeling paint. You understand that doorknob is silver and you want it to be bronze, or whatever that is. You can see that. What our inspections are for is to see what we can't see, right? Having the HVAC, making sure it's running properly, making sure the water heater's working properly, making sure the electrical is tripping the way it's supposed to trip, or whatever the process looks like for you guys, and having a licensed person come in and take a look and do a health check on the house is what you're looking for. Roof is another example. Or drainage across the house. Most people don't understand that, but that's what we're looking for when we are doing these home inspections. We still have a lot more video to go, but first off, I want to say thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget that little bell so you get notified of our future content, and give us that like because it does help us grow. Let's go on with the next round. Sellers, it's your turn. Buyers, turn your ears off for a minute. Here's what we're looking at as sellers, right? Being prepared for a home inspection is crucial, right? Finishing those little projects, if you know that there's chipped and peeling paint on the house, scrape it and paint it. It takes 2 seconds probably, because I would imagine your entire house is not chipped and peeling, but it takes 2 seconds. Just do it, get it done, be quick with it, and move on. You can even go as far as doing a pre-inspection and then checking those things off your list in order to understand what that looks like for you. So going through doing that pre-inspection, having those things done, and getting that stuff done that way is going to be crazy important. So having that stuff is very big. So other thing is just finish your projects, right? I know for me, most of my projects are 90% done. So finish the projects, finish what you need, because they're going to come up. right? They're gonna come up. Let's get it done. Let's move on. Let's be ready for that. The other thing I want to tell you guys is take a breath, okay? I promise you, I've had so many buyers and so many sellers that have gone through this process, and it's just stressed them out completely. And I'm like, it's okay. This is the buyer's right. We want to make sure that they are okay, make sure they feel good about buying a good house. And I will tell you, as a seller, buyers can be somewhat unreasonable. So please, buyers, if you're still watching this, please don't be unreasonable with your requests. You know, sewer line needing replaced, probably pretty reasonable, right? We don't want to have sewage backing up in the house, so probably pretty reasonable. Having something replaced because it's old, not really reasonable. I've had one where the HVAC is old but working great. Same with the heating and air or the AC system on it all working great. But I've had buyers, no, I need you to replace it. But do I? Because you don't need to, because it's working. So be prepared for those things. And I will tell you, as a seller, take a deep breath, take a step back, remove the emotion, and let's actually negotiate through that piece of it. Because the moment we get emotional is when we start to lose things that way. So it's okay. We'll get through it as sellers. Taking those steps to make sure you have a good home is very, very important. Next piece is going to be understanding the report. I promise you, when you get that report, whether you're buyer or seller, it is going to be overwhelming. We are paying these inspectors to go through and give every little thing that's wrong with the house, from roof to foundation and everything in between. And they're going to miss some stuff. But understand, you're going to get a 40 to 60 page report that is going to give a very detailed snapshot of what your house is and what it looks like. And I think the important thing is not to be overwhelmed by that. Take a look at the report, look through each thing. What is important to you? Maybe it's not important that you have an ungrounded outlet because the house was built in the 50s. Great, that's pretty common. Most sellers are not going to bust into the wall and completely rewire the house. Maybe it is the roof needs replaced and you don't want to pay for a new roof. Okay, fine. If that's important to you, then get out of it. That has that cancellation piece for a reason. But I will also tell you, you should know a lot of this stuff, where your limits are, before we get into a house. What I do with my clients is I walk them through that whole process and say, okay, these are the things that I think we should look at. You know, let's have them do this. Let's have them do this. I think this is okay. You know, I think, you know, the fact like an Orangeburg pipe, I've had those a lot lately. I've literally, as I'm recording this video, there are four sewer lines that I'm working on, not me personally working on them, but in the deal, we're working on getting these damn things replaced. It's the Orangeburg pipe or the clay tile pipe, the things that let roots come in is anyway, I don't know what we were thinking back in those days, but it is what it is. But I'll tell you, having those things is important on and understanding that report and understanding where that stuff is. But I want to walk through, whether you're buying or selling, I'm going to walk through with both parties of my clients and make sure that you understand what we're doing and what we're asking for, because it is very, very important to know and understand what you're negotiating, because we're opening up negotiations again, right? So I want to make sure you understand that report, going step by step and understanding what each item is and what that looks like. I'm going to give it to you this way. I bought my house a couple years ago. I went in, I negotiated my price, I got it down a certain amount. And then I went in and I spent over $1,000 in inspections. I went through the gamut with this house because I was like, I want to make sure that I know what I'm getting into, right? Because it was an older home. And before I tell you guys all this stuff, I want to promise you my house is not my house is not a POS. I will tell you that. But it did need some updates when we bought it. So when I bought it, did the whole home inspection. We found the soffits were all rotten. So I negotiated in the sellers putting in new soffits. We did a fireplace inspection and that failed. So I negotiated in the sellers putting in a new fireplace insert because that's all that we could do. I negotiated that in. I found out that we had radon. Our levels of radon were very high. So I negotiated, the sellers put that in. And then I found out that we had termites. So I had the sellers put that in, put in a mitigation system. We did a sewer line inspection, found out it was 80% blocked at my house. So I negotiated in, had the sellers put in a new sewer line. So I was able to go in with an educated answer or response to the inspections and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I found these things. I want you to fix them. And I think that's the important thing that most people don't understand, is understanding that getting into that piece of it is very, very important, and going in with ammo at that point. So sellers, if you're listening to this, that's what I'm talking about with being prepared for that. If you know that those things are happening or know that that stuff's going on, fix it. One, it's the right thing to do. Two, it's probably going to come up. But the thing with it is we can go in. I want you guys to understand that doesn't always happen, right? We have to find the right buyer, the right seller. As a buyer, those inspections, like for my stuff, that would have had to been disclosed to anybody. And as a buyer, would you want a failed fireplace, a blocked sewer line, radon, termite, like the list goes on and on and on. Would you have wanted any of that? Because I know I wouldn't have, or at least I would have asked you to fix it in the first place. So go with the buyer that's in hand and knows what's going on and willing to go buy with the house. So that's my bonus. That's my little story for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'd love to, if you would, put it in the comments. What are some of your buyer stories or seller stories, and what has been a good thing for you guys, good and bad, right? I want to hear the bad. Love to hear what you guys have to say there. Home inspections play a vital role in purchasing and selling a home. Be ready for them, be prepared for them. And I hope that this video has been very helpful for you to understand what that process looks like. If it has been and you enjoy this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content. Give us that like, because it does help us grow the channel. My name is Kyle Powers. I'm with Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty. If you guys have questions about buying, selling, investing, or just anything real estate related, I'm here to help. Please reach out. My number is 785-477-5485. My email is kyle@homesforsalemhk.com. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. And if you're still here, you're the best, and I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.